Next, we are going to start with Scrum. So this is the first slide now after the break. I have done a quick review for people who have joined just now. So now what is Scrum theory? Or what is Scrum? So in last session, somebody asked me, ma'am, what is the difference between Agile or Scrum? Yes, everybody is confused. It's not just you. People who are recruiting, organizations who are recruiting, they are also confused. No, I tell this same example every single time I take a webinar. That is, I do it because if I have any recruiters or if I have any directors or senior managers who are creating the job description, please understand Agile is something different and Scrum is something different. What is it? If you are writing a job JD saying we want experience in Agile / Scrum, what does that mean? Does it mean you want Agile experience, or does it mean you want Scrum experience? If you want person to have Scrum experience, it is practically possible. But if you want person to have Agile experience, it may not be practically possible. There are so many frameworks under Agile. One person having idea on so many frameworks is practically not possible. So people, if you are recruiter, if you're a director, if you're a senior manager or a manager, if you are empowered to create a job description, please make sure you are giving the job description in a proper way. Never give experience in Agile / Scrum, because that is creating a lot of confusion in the market. People come up to institutions or people like for certification courses like us, and they ask for Agile or Scrum experience. Boss, do you want Agile or Scrum? If I say Scrum, if you say Scrum and I tell you that see, we can have a certification done in 2 days. If you want complete knowledge, then maybe we can do around 6 days or 8 days, and then we can close the session. But if you want Agile, it is not going to happen in days, right? It is going to happen in months, or even for 1 year, it is going to prolong. Okay, don't come back asking for Agile or Scrum experience. Specify exactly what you want. Now, let me clear out what exactly this confusion is. Agile is a huge umbrella. Okay, Agile is a methodology. Scrum is one framework under that huge methodology, right? So you can consider Agile as a parent, okay, where Scrum is one child under that parent, right? Just one child. There are many other siblings. They are extreme programming, lean, Kanban, RUP. It does not mean that everybody, say for example, you are 4 brothers or 4 sisters. Do all of you have same features? Do all of you look alike? Do all of you have the same ideas? No, right? Everybody has same ideas. Everybody has different jobs, different way of thinking, different level of expertise in different things. Maybe you are a manager. Maybe your sister is just cooking at home. That is her expertise. Your expertise is you are a manager, you are working in an IT industry. It does not mean that all siblings are alike. It does not mean that all siblings have same features. The parent has a set of rules. Okay, so it means that your parents, your mother or father, your father may be very punctual and your mother may have her own restrictions. She may say that I want somebody who does not use bad language at home. That is one example. Okay, that if you follow that rules, you will inculcate that rules in you. But you are not same as your sister, right? So that way there will be differences among the frameworks, but the parent will still be the same, that the parent rules will still be the same. So now Agile is a huge parent. Now, you can't tell, if when a JD reads, we want person to have experience in Agile / Scrum, it means that it means like a matrimony statement which says, I want to marry mother and daughter together. How is it possible, man? It's not possible, right? So it feels so stupid for me. I don't know how others feel, but please make it that you spread it to your organizations. Agile is a huge methodology. Under Agile methodology, there are sub children which are Scrum, Extreme Programming, Lean, Kanban, and many more. Now, scaled agile, all these things also come under agile only. There are so many different things under agile. Agile is a generic word, but coming down to specifically Scrum, Scrum has its own terminology. So in agile, if you say iteration, it means one cycle of work. In sprint, we are not going to call it as an iteration. We are going to call it as sprint. In Scrum, we are going to call it as sprint. In agile, we are going to call it as iteration. So there are few changes, but the rules will still remain the same. Okay. So the principles, the manifesto that we have covered in the last 1.5 hour will remain the same all through Scrum and scaled agile. So today's sessions are going to be on Scrum and scaled agile, right? So you will still have to apply the same manifesto and principles to Scrum and scaled agile also. All right. So what is the difference? Now, I think it is clear and nobody is confused about agile methodology and Scrum framework, right? So extreme programming is also a framework. Lean, Kanban, RUP, all these are frameworks under agile methodology, right? Next, what is Scrum? Scrum is a lightweight framework that helps people, teams, and organizations generate value through adaptive solutions for complex problems. So, if you ask me, this is a definition. How well did we understand physics when we had to read definitions and by heart that definition and write down that definition in exam? Are we putting down? Does anybody remember any laws that we have read? Any Newton's laws? Can you tell me 3 Newton's laws continuously? No, nobody even remembers it, right? So don't by heart anything like that. Okay, you will have to understand what exactly is Scrum. So what is Scrum? Scrum is a lightweight framework. Let me not describe it to you in a whole sentence. Let me break it down to bits and pieces, and then you will understand it when it is put together, right? So I have a complex problem, guys. What is the complex problem? Complex problem is I have a nail in the wall, okay? And my problem is I want to remove it, okay? Now, what are the adaptive solutions to remove the nail in the wall? Okay, Newton's third law. Somebody gave me Newton's third law. Every reaction has equal and opposite reaction. You know why we remember only Newton's third law and we don't remember the first 2 laws?
The reason is that the third law is more practically applicable in our day-to-day life.
Exactly. So when we fight with our wife or when we fight with our husband, we say that we always use this phrase, right? Yeah, I know.
Shreya, even in your office when you are having your appraisal meetings.
Everywhere it is applicable.
That's right. 100%. So yeah, we remember the third law because it applies in our real life. So now we are going to apply the same Scrum definition to our real life and figure out the solution, right? So what exactly is the solution? So when I put down this question in a freshers, very recently I had a freshers, somebody's copying from Google. Stop it, guys. Somebody's telling me second law also. So yeah, so what happens is when I put this question saying I have a nail in the wall, how should I remove it? Come up with solutions for that. When I asked about this thing in a fresher session very recently, I got different answers. I had a fresher saying, ma'am, I can use a scale, put it in the middle of the nail and turn the scale and the nail may come out, right? Then I had different people. I had a girl saying that, ma'am, I can get tongs from the kitchen. Then somebody said I will use a wire. Somebody said I will use, some fitness freak said I will use a dumbbell, break that nail with the dumbbell. So there are so many solutions, right? Today I'm not going to ask the question because I will get I have 94 participants. I'm going to get 94 different answers. Okay, so let us not make it too confusion, a lot of confusion for everybody. So that way everybody had their own answer based on their creativity, based on their availability, based on their adaptiveness. Some fitness freak was there, so he said dumbbell. Somebody who helps her parent or somebody who does a lot of cooking says, I will use a tongs from the kitchen. Somebody who is at his desk listening to the session felt that, okay, I see a scale, so I can use a scale. So that way, that is an adaptive solution. Okay, based on your organization, based on your team, based on your people, you can create the solution however it is convenient to you, okay, to whatever the problem is. So that is exactly Scrum. So what does Scrum do? Scrum is a lightweight framework. It means that it does not have too many rules or regulations, right? It is very lightweight. And what does it do? It helps people, teams, and organizations generate value. What sort of value are they generating? They are generating value using adaptive solutions. So based on your team, based on your team's level of expertise, they can generate a solution. Right now, if I had a developer or a tester who does automation, who can write a code, he'll say, I will write a code and try to run the code and the nail will come out of the wall. See, it depends upon your expertise level and how you create the solution. So your solution can be adaptive for any complex problem. So the complex problem in the example is the nail in the wall. So say very simple to say, Scrum is a lightweight framework which helps people to generate value. What sort of value? The value by giving adaptive solutions for complex problems. So in real life, what is it? Complex problem is a project or a product. Solution is developing it, getting a good quality for it. That can be done by people, teams, and organizations with a few set of rules, not too many rules. Okay, that is Scrum. Next. So this is Scrum. Next, what are the features of Scrum? So features of Scrum are, Scrum is lightweight. It does not have too many rules. Okay, whatever rules it has, they are very strict. Okay, it is very, very simple to understand. So by the end of the session in next 1 hour, you will say, ma'am, you've been talking about such simple thing for 1 hour. Yes, I've been talking about such simple thing for 1 hour. Only then you were able to understand that it is that simple. Okay, next, purposefully incomplete. Yes, Scrum is purposefully incomplete because if I say, no, I want you to use only the tools in, only the tools from your garage. So what you're going to do to pull out the nail in the wall, you will have to have a cutting plier or, maybe a tongs from the carpentry workshop. But if I give that definition, can I know that every house has a nail in the wall? But does everyone at home have carpentry workshop at home? Do you have all the tools that a carpenter has? No, right? So purposefully incomplete. So the reason why it is purposefully incomplete is because depending upon what you have at home, you will be given an opportunity to use and get your problem resolved, right? That is the reason why Scrum is purposefully incomplete. So even the question when I said, I just want to remove the nail from the wall, I left it incomplete. I didn't tell you what you have to use. I didn't tell you what you should be using, what you should not be using. I didn't tell you, do you have to break the wall? Or just, do I want to have the nail, unbroken, unbent? I didn't tell you anything, right? The reason why I left it incomplete is because you can apply your solution to it. The same way, Scrum is also giving you an opportunity to apply your own solution in your own way. Okay. Next, empirical process of Scrum. Fine, empirical process. What does empiricism mean? Empiricism means that knowledge comes from experience. So what is the thing that is happening in the IT market? A fresher is getting released from a university. He goes to interviews. People are asking, our companies are asking, do you have experience? No. If everybody is asking him, do you have experience? Do you have experience? How can he get experience without even getting a job? Right? So what is happening? Empiricism says that knowledge comes from experience and decision making. Correct. So why is everyone asking, do you have experience? People are asking if you have experience to see how much knowledge you have based on your experience. Okay, so what you can do, you can join some real-time projects, or you can join some internship, or you can join something else where you can gain a little of experience. Okay, so that is about empiricism. Next, lean thinking. What is lean thinking? Lean thinking means reducing wastage. What sort of wastage? So today you are sitting at a desk, okay, or today you're sitting on a bed listening to my session. Okay, now you are hungry, you are opening a biscuit packet. Okay, your packet is completed, you are throwing the packet on the bed or on the desk. Tomorrow again you are hungry, again you are throwing a biscuit packet. End of 1 month, what is happening? Your bed or your desk is becoming dustbin, right? Are you going to leave it like that? Are you going to sleep on the same bed? Are you going to sit at the same desk and work? No, you are going to organize things, you are going to remove whatever is waste. So fine, you are sitting here because you are in the session. Okay, but by end of the session or when we take a break, what you have to do is all the biscuit packets that you have put off, you will have to collect them, go and put it in the dustbin, right? So that is lean thinking. If you keep on adding waste to your desk will be messy, right? So that is lean thinking. So end of the day, what you should do, you should remove whatever waste is there, throw it. Okay, tomorrow when you sit back for the session again, what happens? When again you eat a packet of biscuit, you will have only one packet, not dump of 10 packets, correct? So that is nothing but lean thinking. So this may be very huge terminology, ma'am, lean thinking, empiricism, what all are you teaching? It is not that difficult, guys. It is as simple as it, right? Empiricism is experience, that is knowledge comes from experience. That is the reason why we have done our mini project and a project in our university, right? That is nothing but empiricism. Next, lean thinking, just throwing wastage. Your mother is throwing wastage every day, right? Or is she putting everything in the kitchen or in the balcony? What will happen? It will smell rotten, right? So that way, every one of us have that lean thinking. We all have that empiricism inbuilt. Okay, all these are inbuilt features, but we are not following them in our project because we are thinking that it is just for an organization. We are not considering it as a part of our life, right? Once you start considering your project or your organization as a part of your life, only then you will be able to put 100%. Only then you will have motivation, right? So that is about empiricism and lean thinking. So what are the three pillars of empiricism? The three pillars of empiricism are transparency, inspection, and adaptation. So what is transparency, inspection, and adaptation? Transparency, inspection, adaptation, all will help you get through the empiricism process of Scrum. So what all will be doing and all these things, we will talk about it very slowly. Okay. So what is transparency? Today you're doing some work. Okay. You don't showcase it today. What is happening? People will think, or your manager will think, you have not done any work, right? So you should have transparency. If you have worked for 8 hours, showcase that 8 hours of work. That is transparency. If you have not done anything, that is also fine. It's okay. Showcase that you have not done anything. Because if you are blocked with something, maybe if you don't know how to code it, you don't know how to test it, and you showcase it, only then, if you need training, people can arrange training for you, right? Your manager feels, oh God, this guy didn't do anything today. Okay, what best we can do is we can get some training done for him. Okay, so that sort of transparency we should have, no matter if it is positive or negative. Only if you're transparent enough, your project will run successfully in Scrum. So if you're telling me, okay, I am typically from Hyderabad, guys. So I feel everybody has that love towards Hyderabadi biryani, right? So today, if I say I don't have all those ingredients, okay, and I'll tell you that I have not used fried onions or I have not used something, then definitely after having after looking at that biryani, you will not feel the same feeling that you have had earlier, right? that enthusiasm, that interest will not be there when some ingredient is missing. The same way, some Scrum also prescribes you to use every ingredient. Only if you use all ingredients, you will be able to make sure that your project is successful, just like our biryani, right? Exactly. So transparency. Make sure you follow everything very transparently. Next, inspection. What is inspection? We will have to keep a check on everything. So for people who are team members in today's participants, guys, check your mistakes always. Don't keep repeating the same mistake. For example, you have a daily call, right? So you are having daily call. One mistake that you are always doing is you are always going late to the call or the meeting. Then you will have to inspect, find out that you are late. Okay. Then adapt to it, adapt to the time. Say you're late at, you have to go at 9 o'clock. Okay. For example, Adarsh is there. Adarsh is coming late. Adarsh has to make sure he reaches there by 9 o'clock every day. So he says, no, ma'am, I have to go by bus. Bus comes late every day. Is that an excuse that you can make always? No, right? You will have to make sure you catch the earlier bus before waiting for the 9 o'clock scrum, right? So that way you will have to make sure you inspect your mistake and adapt to the correction, right? That is about inspection and its adaptation. Next. So who are all there in the Scrum team and what is going to happen? What work each person will do? We will talk about it now. Okay. So Scrum team, we have Scrum team who has Scrum Master, Product Owner, and developers. Instantly now in audience, I will have people who are asking questions. Ma'am, tester is not there in Scrum team. Ma'am, business analyst is not there in Scrum team. Ma'am, manager is not there in Scrum team. Yes, guys, everybody is there. We will talk about it very soon. Okay. So your organization role may be different. Okay. But your role in the Scrum team might be different. Your organization is giving you a role as a project manager. Yes, that is me. Okay. For example, you take my case only. Okay. I am a project manager that my organization has given to me. What am I doing? I am doing the responsibilities of a Scrum Master. Okay. So then a manager is not there. Manager is there, but a manager is also a Scrum Master. Okay. Let us go into details of it. So what does a Scrum Master do? What does a Scrum Master do? Give me one moment. Helps the team maintain and follow Scrum. Fine. So not just maintain and follow Scrum. Now Scrum Master has few more added responsibilities. Somebody is not doing work, Scrum Master has to coach them, find out what the problem is. Somebody is coming late every day, find out what the problem is. Somebody is not attending calls every day, find out what the problem is. Coach them, help them understand how much important it is to come for meetings every single day. Okay, next, facilitator. Facilitator means a person who can arrange for meetings. So today I have one guy who wants to talk to the client. Fine, no problem. Check if the client is free. Ask that guy to go talk to the client. Fine. Make sure you're facilitating all the meetings. Make sure everybody is important of the meet. Understands the importance of the meetings. Then mentor the whole team. Be a team lead. Be a proper manager. Okay. Project manager and Scrum Master can both be the same, Adarsh. Next, Scrum Master helps the team resolve blockers. So one example that I will give you that happened in my case. Okay, or I should say, not in my case, my husband's case. So what happened in his office? He was having complete back pain when this work from home started. Fine. Then what we figured out? We figured out that okay, we are not properly sitting. That's the reason why we have all these issues. What did his Scrum Master do? His Scrum Master arranged for a proper seating arrangement. That is, he sent a chair. Okay, that is, his organization sent his chair that was at his desk, so that he could sit properly and work without any interruptions. Right. So that is a very small example, but tomorrow you may have a team who says, my laptop is not working, my mouse is not working, my desktop is not working. All these are blockers. Okay. Scrum Master will help you resolve the blocker. Fine. Next. So guys, I see questions in chat. I will pick them up. But after the topic, guys, I am getting a little deviated between the topic. So let me continue the topic. I will unmute you and you people can ask questions. Fine. Thanks. Next, product owner. What does a product owner do? So if there are a set of requirements are prioritized by the product owner. Product owner will decide which ones are high priority items, which one should the team work on. Next, optimizes the work done by the dev team, right? So if we have a team, they are working on something, they are creating a piece of software. Product owner is the one who gives a lot of value for that work. He will show it to the client. He will say, my team has developed this. Okay. So that way he optimizes the work that is done by the development team. Then product owner will also give feedback consistently to the team, along with having a coordination with the stakeholders. Fine. So I see a few freshers in the audience today. So I have already given this example for all my freshers batch. Okay. Who is a product owner? The person who gives feedback. So for example, we can take you have to submit your record, okay, in your university for your external. Most of the times what we are doing is we are asking the record to be written by somebody else, right? Your juniors or your sisters or brothers or somebody who is free. So what is happening there? You are being the product owner. That is, you are the owner of the record, but somebody else is doing the work, right? So what you will do? Array, this is not my handwriting. Change your handwriting little and write it. I want it right neatly. So that is the feedback that you are giving, correct? So that way you are giving consistent feedback to the person who is writing the record. So who is writing the record here? Your developers are writing the record. And who is the product owner? The person who is giving feedback is the product owner. Fine. Whoever is holding the record is the product owner. Fine. Is it clear, guys? Great. Yeah. So now developers. Who are developers? So now you must have asked me, or you must have already had a question. Ma'am, business analyst is not there. Deployment engineers are not there. Testers are not there. Yes, they are there. Everybody who is adding any work for the release is a development team member. Okay, so he is called a developer. So you may be a test engineer as per your papers. Okay, as per your offer letter. But once you are in a Scrum team, you are also called a developer only. Okay, your organizational hierarchy might be different. Your hierarchy as per the Scrum might be different. Okay, so anybody who is adding to work is a person who is called a developer. Fine. Guys, any questions? Next, what are the Scrum events? So here Scrum events are sprint, sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospection. So we will talk about each one of them in a little detail. Right? What is a sprint? Sprint is a heart of Scrum. That is, sprint is nothing but an iteration. Without an iteration, is there agile? No, right? The same way, without a sprint, there is no Scrum. So sprints should have proper duration for every development effort. That is, for example, if I say I have a sprint of 2 weeks, I have to have continuously 2 week sprints every single time until the end of the project, unless there are any major changes required. So your scrum master or whoever is responsible should be sure enough that your sprint is consistent. If it is 2 weeks, it should be 2 weeks only. It can't be 2 weeks now. Next sprint, it will be 3 weeks. Next sprint, it will be 4 weeks. No, it is not going to work out like that. Okay. So major thing that we will all have to concentrate on is a new sprint starts immediately after the conclusion of the previous sprint. So after previous sprint, you can't tell, ma'am, I will take rest for 2 or 3 days and then we will start another sprint because last sprint was very hectic. No, it is not practically possible. There will be no gap, right? Friday, if your sprint ends, Monday morning, you're going to start a new sprint. Monday morning, if your sprint is closing, Monday afternoon, immediately you're going to start your next sprint. Fine. Next, sprint contains of planning, daily scrum, development work, sprint review, and sprint retrospection, right? So if you keenly observe, sprint is an event, and inside this event, there are all other events. That is, sprint is there, and inside sprint only, we are going to carry out all the other events. Fine. Now, what is sprint planning? So we have people who never worked in Scrum or Agile. Now, if we ask them to start sprint planning, what is going to happen? They definitely don't know what is to be done. How much long will the sprint planning be? What exactly is done in sprint planning? Do I have to talk or not? And so on. Okay. So what is it? The work that has to be performed in the sprint. That is, if you have decided that your sprint will be of 2 weeks, whatever work that has to be done over the period of next 2 weeks, you are going to plan it in the sprint planning meeting. Okay. So how long will the meeting be? If you have a sprint of 1 month, then your sprint planning will be of 8 hours. So if you have a sprint of 2 weeks, your sprint planning will be for 4 hours, right? Time box is the maximum duration of the duration that is allowed for that meeting. Okay, it can't exceed. Okay, if you say sprint planning is not happening for within 8 hours for 1 month sprint, it is taking more than 8 hours. It means that you are not following Scrum properly. Right? As I already told you, if you are cooking something, if you don't add exactly what the recipe says, you definitely won't be able to make it, right? The same way, so if you're making a coffee, even if you miss milk, it will not give you taste. Even if you miss coffee powder, it will not give you taste. Even if you miss sugar, it will not give you taste. So you should have everything in equal, that is in right proportions. Now, if you put in equal proportions, is it going to work out? No, right? You should have proper proportion for everything. So the same way, you have a time box that is 8 hours for 1 month sprint. You have to follow that. Only then your project will be successful. Fine. Now, I will answer your questions, guys. So daily Scrum. What happens to daily Scrum? Daily Scrum is a 15-minute time boxed event. And what do we do? All the developers will sit together in daily Scrum. Fine. What do they discuss? Discuss absolutely anything. Okay. But make sure you understand what work each one is doing. That is a self-organized team. Okay. Don't tell me that developer A and developer B are writing the same code. Okay. It's not possible. It should not happen. Okay. So organize among yourself. Do anything in that 15 minutes. You say I'm writing a piece of code A. You write a piece of code B. Do it. Do whatever you want to do. Become a self-organized team. Right? That is daily Scrum. So giving a chance or opportunity for the development team member to talk and organize among themselves is nothing but a daily Scrum. So it is held at the same time and same place every single day. Right? The structure of the meeting is set by the development team. So you and me, that is, maybe you are a manager or a lead or anybody, you should not decide how the team has to work or how the development team has, what should they talk in the meeting. Okay. They should decide all by themselves. Okay. So one thing is main questions. For example, I'm giving you, this is one example of the questions in the daily scrum. What is it? What I have done yesterday? What is my plan for today? And do I see any impediments? So this is one, this is one way of keeping the daily scrum simple. Okay. So if you have any other discussions, if your project is complex, it has so many modules, if your project is complex and a lot of requirements which look similar, then go on, talk about it. But it is completely on the developers side. Whatever you want to discuss, you can discuss. But end of the day, the whole goal is after daily scrum, you should be organized. Nobody should do the same work. Nobody should have any miscommunication or misunderstanding. Fine. So these three questions are just examples. You may want to follow them, may not want to follow them. That is up to you. Next, what is a sprint review? So sprint review is held usually at the end of the sprint, right? When the work is completed, what work has been done? What exactly did we do? Did we do any mistakes? Or, is there any correction that we have to do? All these things are checked in sprint review. Okay. Now, I will say that sprint review usually happens for all the functional items that were developed, that all the functional work that you have done, okay, in the sprint. Next, who all can be present in the sprint? During the sprint, all the scrum people, that is all the people, stakeholders, scrum team, business, if you say I have end users can interact. Anybody who has permission can join the sprint review. There's no specific permission required. If your manager says, I want to see, I am not a part of your scrum team, or if your director is not part of your scrum team, he wants to see how much work you have done. Don't waste time. Ask him to come to sprint review and he will understand how much of work is done. Okay. So what exactly are we doing? As a developer or a tester, whatever functionality we are creating, we are showing it in the sprint review. Why should we do that? I will give you a very small example. With this example, you will clearly understand what is a sprint review and why we are doing a sprint review. Okay. So you are buying a washing machine or a water purifier in your house. What is happening? A person is coming and he is installing the washing machine or the water purifier. And he is giving you a demo, right? So for example, let us consider water purifier. Okay. He is going to give you a demo. He is going to tell you, boss, when you see this red light here, it means that your water purifier is not working properly. You can go back to our service agents and they will do servicing for your water purifier. So if that person is not doing that demo, what will happen? We will think that the water is being purified always and we will keep on drinking dirty water, correct? Next, if the person is not explaining what all are the features in that water purifier. Now we have, I think if you know that we have water purifiers which have where you can sterilize your vegetables and fruits also. Okay, so you will have a small box and you can put a pipe into that box and you can sterilize all your vegetables from the water purifier. So unless now probably who has water purifiers is trying to understand, do I have this in my water purifier? You don't know unless somebody from that company gives you a demo, correct? So that way, unless you get a clear demo from the person who has developed the product, you will not be able to make optimum use of that product, right? You are not sure if that product is 100% working fine. The same way, we are also going to do a demo of all the features that we have developed, and we are going to show it to the end users or the stakeholders of how efficiently they can use each feature that we have developed. That is nothing but a sprint review. Now, if that person is not coming for demo, you definitely are not understanding what the product is. You have to try. Okay. Same thing is happening. If we are not giving a sprint review, our stakeholder will not understand. He will be confused about the product, right? That is sprint review. Now, what is the time box for the sprint review? Time box for sprint review is 4 hours for 1 month sprint. That means for 4 weeks, it is 4 hours. So for 2 weeks, it is 2 hours, right? So usually I'm giving an example of 2 weeks because most of the organizations are following sprint length of 2 weeks. It is ideal to have a 2 week sprint. That's why most organization feels that 2 weeks is beneficial. That's the main reason why I'm giving example of 2 week sprint. So now sprint review is time boxed for 4 hours for 1 month. All right. So guys, I would want you to all have a lot of attention towards this time boxes, what exactly we are doing in the events and all these things, because these may be a part of your mock test today, end of the day, right? Make sure everybody is attentive. Make sure every one of you are writing the mock test, only because what happens is end of the day, when you finish your mock test only, you will get participation certificate. If you're wasting your time here and you're not writing the mock test, then probably you're not even getting a certificate, which you can showcase it in your profiles, in your LinkedIn, or maybe you want to put it on Facebook or Instagram. It's up to you, but Twitter or whatever it is, but make sure you are attentive and you gain your certificate so that it is useful for you in your profiles. Fine, in your resume. Next. This is about sprint review. What we do in sprint review, we do a demo of the product that we are developing. Next, what is the result of sprint review? The result of sprint review is a revised product backlog. Now I will have more questions popping in asking me, ma'am, what is a product backlog? What is a product backlog item? How can we decide, or how can we revise a product backlog with doing a demo? See, what is a product backlog? We will talk about it. What is a product backlog item? We will talk about it. What happens? That is, what is a sprint review? Sprint review is a demo. Now, for example, I took a water purifier. Now, I'm not happy. I will ask him, boss, the taste of the water is not so good. I want it to be little more purified. Can you do it? So he will change the purification accordingly. I hope people who have used RO, that is reverse osmosis systems or water purifiers, have gone through this phase that you can test the taste of the water and get it adjusted as per your taste while the first installation is happening, correct? So the same way your customer, that is the your client, can see the product. For example, if you're developing an e-commerce website, so the customer can see the website and see, I like the login, I like the logo, but I want login on the right side and logo on the left side. So that way your customer can make changes to the project or the product. Okay, so that is the result of review. So understanding too much of terminology right away about product backlog, a product backlog item might be difficult for you. So we will push it in the next, next slide. Okay, so now comes that is after the Scrum events, we will talk a lot about product backlog items and everything. I will give you a clear picture of how sprint or Scrum runs. Okay, now sprint retrospective. So what is a sprint retrospective? Sprint retrospective is an opportunity for the Scrum team to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements. So what are we doing here? We are doing a retrospection, inspection of self. Okay, so majorly what we have to do is we will have to figure out what are the problems and what are the solutions to those problems. For example, every sprint there is one person who is taking more than, that is 2 weeks of sprint, there is one person X who is taking always 3, 4 leaves in every sprint. So that is an item of improvement. You can't tell that every time it is practically possible to do that improvement, possible to take that many leaves. You will have to talk to that person, figure out, ask him to inspect why you are taking so many leaves. Then give him an opportunity to get through the improvement. To improvement is, instead of taking 3 leaves, next time he may take 2 leaves, and slowly we can guide him to the no leave sprint. Okay, that way we will have to be a little patient, and we will have to carry out the opportunity of finding out the mistakes and their adjustments to be done. I have already given you an example of somebody coming late to the call. Retrospection is finding out that you are doing a mistake, you are not following the rules, and improvement or correction to it is you will have to make sure you wake up early, get your things done early, come to office early, and join the meeting early. That is on time. Next, that is sprint retrospection. So sprint retrospection usually occurs after sprint planning. Now, what is the time for sprint retrospective? The time box for sprint retrospective is 3 hours for 1 month sprint. Next, for a 2-week sprint, it is 1.5 hours, right? So what is the purpose of retrospective? The purpose of retrospective here is inspect how the last sprint went in regards to people, relationships, processes, and tools, right? So somebody has some problem, maybe developer A, developer B always fight. Figure out that that is an improvement. Fine. Somebody is not updating their tasks on their tool. They're working a lot, but they're not updating that on the tools. That is an improvement. Somebody is developer or tester, they fight with each other. That is an improvement. All such small things are also improvements. You will have to consider everything, and only then your project will become successful. Identify and order all the major items that went well and potential improvements. So we are not only pointing out at mistakes, guys. We have to be motivated, right? So if you keep on saying, for example, best example that I can tell you is if you have kids at home, okay, don't always tell them that, no, you are wrong, no, you are wrong, no, you are wrong, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. End of 2 days or 3 days, that kid will feel whatever I'm doing, he will say no. Whatever I'm doing, they will say no. So that intention should not be created. So what we have to do, we will have to tell them that, yes, you can do it, but later, not now. So for example, if the kid is saying, I want to eat chocolate, don't always say no. You have to tell no, that is correct. But if it is lunchtime, tell them that we will first have lunch, and after that you can have your chocolate. So whatever you're talking, you can make it more optimistic. Okay, be positive. Don't become negative all the time. So here also, don't always count mistakes. Make sure you're also counting your plus points. Okay, that is, whenever there is something wrong, whenever there is some positive happening, applause your team members for that positive, then go for the negatives, right? That way your team will be completely motivated. Next, create a plan for implementing improvements. So just finding out the improvements and not working out anything on that will create a problem. Okay, so always finding out the mistakes and never correcting those mistakes is also a problem. Okay, same example. If you have a kid at home, you're always telling them, no, you're shouting too much, you're shouting too much, you're shouting too much, and you're not correcting them. You're not telling them, kid, you have to be silent. You should not shout all the time. You should do a little meditation. You should be silent for some time, and slowly you should try to change your behavior. If you're not telling them the correction plan, they will not understand. If you always say you're shouting, don't shout, don't shout, it's not going to work out. You have to tell them, be silent. Okay, so that way you will have to create your improvement plan and help the team, right? That is the purpose of retrospective or retrospection. Next, there are 3 different Scrum artifacts. We will have a look at those also. So I think we will have just very few slides. So Scrum artifacts, they are product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment. So what is a product backlog? All the requirements are pushed into a product backlog, and what are the items in the product backlog called? They are called product backlog items. Simple. Okay, so the list of ordered requirements. Who does ordering? Product owner does the ordering. So when product owner finishes ordering of the requirements, he will put it in the product backlog. So the one and only source of finding out what are the requirements is the product backlog. So it may be in a tool, maybe it may be in a Jira tool, or it may be in an Excel sheet or anywhere. But anything that shows you what the requirements are is a product backlog. Next, product backlog. Product owner is responsible for the product backlog. That is, whatever is there in the product backlog, what is the content in it, what is the availability of the product backlog. Can a fresher also see the product backlog? Can only managers see the product backlog? Can a new person see the product backlog? What is the order of the items in the product backlog? All these things should be handled by a product owner, right? So if you are really interested in becoming a product owner, then I think we also have courses for product owner, and you can get in touch with the career guidance people, and they will guide you which course is best suitable for the product owners, right? Next, product backlog is never complete. Product backlog is always alive. Okay, it is never complete. Even if your product is completed, your customer may need more changes, more requirements, more maintenance. He will keep on adding things to the product backlog. So it is never complete. Okay. The same thing, a product exists until the if a product exists, it product backlog also exists. So if you have a product, 100% you will be having a product backlog also. Okay. There is no way you can tell I have a product, but its product backlog is not there. Okay. It is not practically possible. So that is about product backlog. Now, what is sprint backlog? Now, backlog is both the same. Product backlog is set of requirements. Sprint backlog is also set of requirements. Product backlog is for the full product, but sprint backlog is for that particular sprint. Okay, is it clear? Now, we will have to see what exactly is there. Sprint backlog has product backlog items selected for that particular sprint, right? And along with that, it also has the plan of delivering those items. Okay, if you have some specific plan, you say this requirement is there, you put it in the requirement. But if you have any specific task for it, like, this requirement can be developed only when I have Eclipse in my system. So getting your Eclipse downloaded and setting your Java path and all these things are also one task, right? So that way you are adding all these tasks also to the sprint backlog. Next, sprint backlog is a forecast by the development team about what functionality they will be creating in the increment. So we are telling there is a sprint, okay, that is of 2 weeks. Now you're telling sprint will be finished in 2 weeks, and end of the 2 weeks, I will develop something. What is that something? How will someone know? So somebody is coming in after one week of sprint, that is product owner is coming back and asking you, what are you developing? Show them that we have already developed this, and we have these items that we will be developing in next 1 week. That is over the period of 2 weeks. These are the tasks that we have picked and we will be delivering it. Fine. That is sprint backlog. Now, sprint backlog makes visible all the work that the development team has done. So you have done some work. Okay. You don't showcase it. What is going to happen? People will think you have not done work. Okay. Now you have really not done work. You are not even showcasing that. What is happening? People will think you have done work, and even if you have problem, they're not going to help you out. Okay. So what is it? Maybe you want to have some training. Maybe you want to have interaction with other person to understand how to do that work. If you don't showcase how much work you have done, nobody will understand it. Right? Next, to ensure continuous improvement, it includes at least one high priority process improvement identified. So every sprint backlog has one high priority improvement item included. Okay, so it's not always work. Say if one person is coming late, that is an improvement item. Add it to sprint backlog. Make sure that the person is coming on time, and let that person say, I have come on time all through the sprint. Okay, that is also one item in the sprint backlog. You can't tell, I can't add this. There is no limit for what your sprint backlog contains. Fine. Next, what is an increment? So increment is nothing but sum of all product backlog items that has been completed. That is, say today you have developed login functionality. That is today, end of the day, I will have my sprint release. Okay, that is, I will be done with my sprint. So today I should have login functionality. Tomorrow, that is in next 2 weeks, I will finish logout functionality. So are you going to release it as two different applications? No, right? You are going to merge it. That is, you are going to merge login functionality and logout functionality into the same application. That application, which is a sum of all the outcomes of all sprints carried out, is an increment, right? Next, an increment is a body of inspectable and done piece of work. Okay, once you have an increment, people can start using that increment, find out the mistakes in that increment, and come back to us and give us a feedback. Fine. Next, what is an increment? Increment is a step towards a vision or goal. So your goal, for example, is creating an e-commerce website. Creating a login functionality for that website is one step. Okay, slowly we will be doing one step at a time, and after finishing few number of sprints, we will come to a conclusion that we have reached to a goal. Okay, next, increment should be in a usable condition. Yes, this is one rule and condition, that increment should be in a usable condition. Only if your increment is in a usable condition, people can, that is your customer can see it, try to use it, figure out if he is happy or not, and give you feedback. Next. Give me one moment. Okay, now these are the major things that most of the times companies, institutes, organizations don't really think about. Okay, no matter if you are a fresher, no matter if you're a manager, no matter if you're a director, Scrum values are really, really, really important. Don't just make it a part of your curriculum for certification. Try to make sure you hold these values. If you're a manager, make sure each person in your team knows these values. Make sure each person in your team completely follows all these values. If you are a fresher, understand the importance of each value and use them in your projects, and you will be very, very successful in your career. And not just career, not just about being a developer or being a tester. It is about being a proper human being. Okay, I feel that these are not Scrum values. I feel that these are values that are required for a man to be called a human. Okay, now what are these values? One, commitment. What sort of commitment should you have? What is commitment? What should I do? Why should I be committed? You should be committed. Only if you are committed, you will be able to complete your work on time. So for example, if you are a member or a developer, that is a person who is writing code or testing code, you should be committed in such a way that by end of 2 weeks, I should finish this task and make sure that the increment is done. If you don't have that commitment, then the project will never end. Okay, if you don't have that commitment, the project will never be successful. Next, if you're a manager or a director, you should also have commitment. If you never you get the project, you do the budgeting, but you never look into the project, what happens? People may not be organized, people may not follow everything properly. So you should have your commitment in your own way. Get your things done. See, end of the day, doing it, or using Scrum or Agile or whatever it is, Scrum, Agile, Kanban, Lean, or waterfall itself, May it be anything. End of the day, end goal is getting things done. So if you're a manager, then concentrate on getting things done. That is your commitment. If you're a developer, understand that your commitment is finishing the things on time. So that way, everybody has to do their job. That is commitment. This sort of commitment should be there for everybody in their personal life. And moreover, when your project is using Scrum. Similarly, are you not committed to your family? Are you not committed to your parents? Are you not committed to your wife and child? You are, right? The same way, you have to be a little committed towards your project also. How are you all living with this project only, right? So that way you will have to have a little commitment towards your project also. Next, courage. What is courage? Does it mean that you have to go and fight wars? No, definitely not. It means that you know something, do it. Take it up, have the courage to say, yes, I can do it and I will do it. That is courage. If you don't know something, still you need courage to open and say, I don't know, right? There's nothing wrong. You may be 20 years experienced in the IT industry, but it does not mean that you know everything, right? So uh, same way, you may know everything, but it means that a fresher is coming in. Fresher might have more knowledge about something. You should have the courage to accept that, yes, boss, you know a lot more than me. So why don't you take training? Why don't you teach us? Right? That is also courage. Knowing everything also you needs courage. Not knowing everything and accepting is also needs courage. Next, focus. What is focus? It is again very much similar to commitment. Okay. Never lose your focus. What is your focus? Your focus is end of 1 month, I should get salary, right? Similarly, if you have to get salary, your focus should be end of 2 weeks sprint, I should deliver this much. That is these tasks should be done by me. Okay, so that is also focus. So when you have focus only, you will be successful in your project, in your career, in the IT industry, and also in your personal life. Next, openness. Be open. You know something, tell it. You don't know something, tell it. If you don't know how to write code, tell it. Get trained. Okay, it's okay. There nobody is going to fire you immediately for not writing one piece of code or one line of code, right? Be open, be frank, understand that people will also understand that training needs are required, right? When you know something, be open. When you don't know something, be open. When you can do something, be open. When you cannot do something, still be open, right? So that is about openness. Next, respect. What is respect? Why should I have respect? Why should I this is a major problem in Scrum teams as well as in our lives, right? We usually don't respect people. We feel that few countries have dignity of labor. Now what we are doing, we see a maid, feel that, oh, she is just a maid. No, give her the respect she has to get. She will work very, very efficiently, correct? The same thing, figure out what her needs are, work for her needs. Say she is having some problem. In this situation, your companies are covering all your vaccinations. What best you can do, get your maids also covered. There few companies are offering that option also. There's no limit for how many vaccines you are getting done. Okay, get your mates covered. What is it? What is going to happen? It means that you are showing some respect towards your mates, right? The same way, company is giving you vaccination of opportunity, like they're reimbursing your vaccination. What is company doing? It's showing its respect towards you, right? Your company wants you, so it's showing that respect towards you. The same way, each team member should be able to respect each other, right? So what happens is, when you respect each other, no matter if you're a junior or senior, when you have some work to be accomplished, you can sit together and get it done. So junior might know more, senior might know less, when you have been respecting each other all through the project, when there is something that a senior is not able to do, junior will definitely jump in and help. The same thing vice versa. Senior knows more, junior does not know. You respect senior. You can definitely, when you're in trouble, you can definitely go up to him and ask, boss, I'm not understanding this. Can you help me? And he will definitely help. So that should be the bonding between the team. Right? So these are the values that are really, really very, very important for all of us to go through this Scrum team. And your Scrum team will be bound together only when all these Scrum values are properly followed. Next, I think we have just one last slide to go. And this slide will help you understand everything in detail about Sprint and Scrum. Right, we already spoke about everything in bits and pieces. Now we know who is a product owner, we know who is a scrum master, we know what is a sprint review, we know what is a sprint retrospection, what is a product goal, and all these things. But do we know what is the flow? No. So this slide will help you understand the flow. Okay, so what we are doing is there is a project vision. Here, if you can see, this is the project vision. Project vision will help you understand what will be the requirements. So from project vision, we will get user stories. User stories are nothing but requirements. Okay. Now, user stories will be picked, and then planning will be done to understand what work should be done in the sprint. So that is sprint planning meeting. Now, sprint will be implemented. While we are implementing sprint, daily scrum will happen. Okay, and while daily scrum is happening, and once the sprint implementation is completed, we will figure out in daily scrum, we spoke about the impediments, right? We will have an impediment log where you can figure out what are the blockers, what can what you should do when you have such type of blocker. Next, we will have sprint review. Yeah, sprint after sprint will be sprint review. After sprint review, you will have sprint retrospection meeting. That is how then after the sprint retrospective, the piece of increment that you have done will be released. Right? This is exactly how Scrum works. It is as simple as it. Now we will do question and answers. So let me go back to the previous slide. Okay. So we know about product owner, we know about Scrum Master, we know about the development team members, we know about the stakeholders. Now, we know the description of each of them. Now, what is a product vision? Product vision is, for example, we have taken an e-commerce website. That is our project vision. That is a goal, right? Now we are creating user stories based on user stories are nothing but requirements. Now we are creating requirements based on the product goal. Now, what are we doing? We are putting them in the product backlog. Now, from product backlog, we will pick up the items and we will plan for the sprint. Okay. From there, in sprint, we'll do sprint implementation. While we are implementing the sprint, we are carrying out daily scrum. That is a 15-minute meeting that is happening every day in the sprint. And in daily meeting, we are figuring out if we have any blockers. Next, we are going to do sprint review after the sprint. That is understanding. That is what all features you have developed in the sprint. We will do a demo of it in sprint review. Now, sprint retrospection. What are the mistakes and what are the corrections for that mistakes? We are figuring out in the sprint retrospection. That is as simple as it. You have learned everything in bits and pieces until now. And this slide is now putting together all your knowledge and giving you a flow of the items that you have learned. Epic. Epic is a high level terminology for a user story. That is, user story is again a requirement. Okay. What is a requirement and what is a functionality? Requirement is a piece from functionality, right? A little piece from that functionality. Similarly, functionality is equals to epic. User story is equal to requirement.
Thanks for watching. For more videos, subscribe our channel and click on the bell icon.